Hello.
That looks just like Myrrh. You ready?
Hi, how are you, Darren? Sorry I'm a minute late. I just got this for my wife and it's awesome. And I got distracted.
Is that one of those things where you get to say what the product is and then you get $75 each time you say it in an interview?
I do not. She paid full price retail.
There you go. Well, I appreciate you taking the time. You are already super busy, but also having a new book out. People want to talk to you about that too. So you're like, is Murr an author, a TV star, a movie guy, a development executive? You have 4 jobs that I'm aware of. But when did you finish Area 51 Interns?
We finished it a few months ago. This is a 3-part series. Book number 1 comes out next week. Book number 2 comes out in October. Book number 3 comes out next spring. And we're also developing it as a live action TV series as well, which is really cool. But the book is about a group of kids, 4 best friends in 8th grade, going to their freshman year of high school. Their parents just so happen to work at Area 51. Mm-hmm. And so the first day of summer, it's take your kids to work day. The kids go, and of course, all hell breaks loose at Area 51. All the adults get kidnapped and captured, and it's up to the kids to save the day every single book. So each book is a brand new adventure. Book number 1, of course, is about aliens. Book 2 is about mythical creatures. Book 3 is about time travel. Anything and everything goes at Area 51.
Yeah, that sounds like a pitch you may have constructed and can very eloquently do. Not your first book. The creative process, what's it like for you writing in the children's genre? Because it's very different than a memoir.
Sure, I've never written a memoir before. But
there was rumors that you were writing memoir. Is that totally unfounded?
No. Years ago, they wanted to do an Impractical Jokers book, but we never got to do it. But no, in the past, I've just written fiction. So yes. My first trilogy was sci-fi horror. The 4th book, Don't Move, was horror. The 5th book, The Stowaway, was mystery thriller. And now we have the 3 kids book series coming out. And then at the end of next year, there'll be another serial killer thriller as well.
Wow. Okay. So going back to my original question before I got sidetracked with fake news about a memoir that didn't come out, the creative process for that is very different than the improv comedy.
Sure.
And being also a television development kind of guy, that's also like rooted in strategy and planning. So you have been successful in both things that are improvised and things that take long-term planning. But is the creative process different for writing a children-oriented book to something that's sci-fi horror?
Good question. So the process of creating the idea is the same as anything, right? It's the same as coming up with an idea for a challenge or a punishment on Impractical Jokers. It's the same process as coming up with a hook for a TV show and then developing the TV show based on that core idea. So this started the same kind of way. You sit down and you say, okay, what would happen? I've never heard of an internship at Area 51, right? Who would land an internship? Kids. How would they land an internship? The parents work there, and it's take your kids to work day. And from that very initial crux comes the hook. And then you say, this is a new, unique idea. Let's develop it. And then we create the characters. So the initial process is the same no matter the project. But developing a kids book series was a lot of fun because I got to, unlike my thrillers, my adult fiction thrillers, I got to have fun and write lots of jokes in it. The characters are funny. The situations are funny. Kids will laugh out loud reading it, kind of like you would if you're reading Goosebumps or things like that. So in that sense, I got to lean on a lot more of my comedy chops while still keeping my sci-fi adventure crux of my other novels too, you know?
You just said Goosebumps. RL Stein, advanced praise on this book. Wow. RL Stein does not praise every author. When did you first meet RL? And question 2 to that, do you call RL Stein RL when you reach out by email or phone call? Do you go, hi RL, or is it R, or how does that work?
I call him Bob. Him and I became dear friends a few years ago. We got put on a panel together years ago. They wanted him and I to co-host a panel. Just the 2 of us. It was when my first book came out. So I had a thriller called Awakened out. Mm-hmm. He had a new, I think, the Garbage Pail book series coming out, or maybe it was Fear Street or something like that. Mm-hmm. And they put us on a panel together, and we hit it off immediately because we have very complementary kind of personalities and sense of humor. And we hit it off immediately, had never met before, and stayed in touch, and then have gone out many, many times since then. I just had brunch with him literally 2 weeks ago, and went to his house first, and then we went out for brunch, and he's just become a dear friend and mentor. And what a lovely, lovely guy. I can't say enough about him. We just have, I don't know, I feel like he's a dear friend at this point, you know? So it's, I think there's a mutual respect and admiration for each other. And he had known of Impractical Jokers because his grandkids watched it, and now he's a legit fan and has seen every episode. And of course, I've been a fan of all his work for decades, you know? Right.
Well, Rock Bottom Remainders, is that something that you're familiar with before I go really inside baseball here?
No, hit me. What is that?
Rock Bottom Remainders is this rock band that a lot of best-selling authors had. They were all music-obsessed people. So Mitch Albom, Dave Barry, Ayn Rand. Do you say it Ann or Ayn? How do you say that?
I traditionally have said Ayn Rand, but it is spelled A-Y-N, so who knows?
Yeah. Other people like that, combined with Al Cooper, who played on Bob Dylan and Blood, Sweat, and Tears stuff. It's pretty much a couple authors, a couple legit musicians. They let the authors play guitar and whatnot, and play at book conventions, something like that.
No kidding.
I like to find out whenever there's people who are successful and hang out with like-minded people in their field about the side venture or side hobby they have. Like I found out about all these 80s metal people who played in a softball league. And that kind of led to a bunch of them getting gigs. For you, is there like a secret author group hobby thing, like a bowling league or anything like that?
Specifically about writing, or could it be anything?
Well, I figure there's a trivia league amongst all the authors and in their secret hangouts, but is there like a volleyball league, co-ed softball, anything like that?
As far, well, you know, there's not really. I don't belong to anything like that, but my co-writer Darren from all my adult fiction, we hang out all the time. I see him in 3 days. It's my wife's birthday this weekend, and so we rented a house for her dearest friends in Florida for a couple of days, and he's coming down with his wife, and so we have a secret like vacation club together. We vacation, all of us vacation together. You know, we went to Antigua last summer on vacation for a week. We're going to Florida this week on vacation for a few days. But I do have one other secret passion. I'm a farmer too. Like I farm a lot.
Really?
Yes.
What's your preferred harvest?
You would not believe if I tell you what I grow. I grow everything. You can't even imagine. I grow 40 or 50 different fruits and vegetables. No joke. And I grow everything: corn, apples, tomatoes, 50 different things. You would not believe it. I have a vineyard I grow. I grow grapevines of Pinot Grigio grapes. I grow blueberries and everything you can imagine.
When did that start? Is that a grown-up thing, or as a kid in Staten Island, one day I'm going to have a farm? It
started as a kid on Staten Island. My father had a green thumb, and we grew everything.
Nice.
A very small little kind of plot of land. And then it went on hiatus while I lived in New York City, because I had like one little basil plant on the windowsill. There's no other room. And then as soon as Melissa and I moved to Jersey and bought a house, forget it. They're right now constructing an even bigger garden for me. They're building new fences and everything because we expanded it by half. It's already huge, and it's on multiple parts of my backyard. You know.
Nice.
So one day I'll have a secret farmers club.
Buy that domain today before a person who hears it buys that domain. Then you have to buy
.org.
Farmers Only is already taken, unfortunately.
Farmers Only. Yeah.
So in your case, I think that there's a lot of people who admire what you do because it's a long-term success that wasn't necessarily anticipated or created. It is an organic success that you have in the entertainment field. Now, where you are today, did you ever envision that you were going to be at this level?
You know, I worked in TV development for many, many years, right? So my job back then was to create and sell TV shows. So I think I have a different perspective on it than any of the other guys, in that I knew from firsthand experience how freaking hard it is to not just, I think anybody can sell a TV show, with enough time and work. And I think most people could even get a TV show to be picked up for a season, if they really worked and tried. But to get a TV show to go multiple seasons is astronomically hard, right? And then I knew in theory that this kind of stuff could happen, because one of the shows that the company I worked for many years also makes is Say Yes to the Dress Atlanta and Say Yes to the Dress Bridesmaids, which are shows that run 10, 12 years too.
Yeah.
And I saw the effect the TV show had on those respective businesses, right? So I knew in theory, if you have that kind of success, you can build a lot of things from it. You can build a tour from it. You can build speaking engagement from it. You can build books from it. You can build whatever you like. You can build a spin-off.
Build a farm.
I knew in theory it could happen.
Yes.
I've seen it happen in very small amounts on those other TV shows.
Yeah.
So when we sold Jokers, and it has gone on for many seasons, and we were able to build new franchises from it, the tour, the cruise, the movie, Misery Index, the spin-off shows of Jokers, After Party, Dinner Party, the book series I write of all the books, like my solo tour, Sal's solo tour, Joe's solo tour now. Like, I knew these things could happen, but I don't think I ever anticipated they could all happen. You know what I mean? Like, any one of these things, like you mentioned before, is a full-time job. Yeah. So it's really exciting to creatively, like, we went so many years failing, like 12 years of failure before we got on Impractical Jokers. A month before we sold Jokers, one network president told us we were too old for TV. 1 month before we sold Jokers, and that was 12 years ago. So it's like, I feel very blessed, and I that's why I think we have a different kind of relationship with our fans than most TV shows. Like, we were 35 when we got on TV. Like, I know that all this stuff and the books and everything good going on is entirely because of the fans. Like, we had none of that for the most of our adult life, and we feel very appreciative and thankful for it.
Having all that, which, as you just said, which I agree with, each one of those things is a full-time job unto itself. Are you the kind of person that you're looking to go, what's next, and I want to do more? Or is the goal more to maintain what you have in a great way?
It's always more. People are driven, I think, by that being said, you have to have some kind of balance in your life and know that, there will always be greater and lesser persons than yourself. And I'm a much more well-balanced guy now. Probably because I got married, and it suits me well. But
sure.
I always have plans. The plans are always to all these literary projects. The goal is always to sell them into TV and movies, right? So Area 51 Interns, we're developing as a live action TV series now.
Yes.
The Brink, Don't Move. It has a screenplay written on it for a movie. The Stowaway is being developed as a movie now. That's always the plan. I want to see my creative work affects millions and millions of people, not just the people that bought the book. I want to see it live on forever. And so that creative drive is always there to go further, do more with the work you create, and do better work than you ever thought you could.
Well, I think your team warned you that I was going to ask about some non-promotional topics besides Area 51 Interns being awesome and available March 15th, is it?
Yeah.
The Ides of March. Brilliant day.
Ides of March.
The Ides of March, my sister's birthday. Hey, it's a great day.
You tried to time the book release with both your sister's birthday and Shakespeare.
I told my sister I was speaking with you, and she was thrilled. And I said, so what do you want me to ask him? She's like, I got nothing. It happens. But the key is Area 51 Interns. But I saw that you recently were photographed around Chris Jericho, who also has way too many jobs and a 6-man cruise of his own. Yep. And we've seen a number of professional wrestlers on Impractical Jokers as part of pranks. And I think Sal was on Chris Jericho's cruise. Are you the non-wrestling Joker, or were you like a kid wrestling fan?
No, I'm an old school wrestling fan. Like, I grew up with the heyday of WWF, right?
Yeah.
In the 80s. So I went to WrestleMania 1 and 2.
Wow.
I was hardcore. And in my house right now, in the basement, are boxes of the old school original wrestling figures and the cage and the ring.
The LJNs?
Yes, the originals. Like, I have
wow.
hundreds of them. downstairs. Everyone they ever made, but old school. And then like, I started paying attention to girls, and then I stopped, caring. But Q and Sal are still in it, and I still love it too. Like I've gone to Monday Night Raw, and I still am a wrestling fan, but like one of my favorite movies of all time is They Live, starring Roddy Piper, because that's my generation. That being said, Chris Jericho was on set the other day. He was part of a Q punishment, which he posted a photo about, which is very fun. You'll love it. It's great. It was hysterical. Each episode of Jokers now ends with a different celebrity guest as part of the punishment. So it's really fun, man. It's very exciting.
That true TV synergy, the Warner Media synergy. So there's a lot of talent to pull from, even without calling in favors.
Yeah, but it's not even a favor. Like he's a friend of Q and Sal in particular, now a friend of mine. And in the first episode, we filmed with Method Man from WuTang Clan. Yeah, he's it was wild. Next week we're with Brooke Shields. It's gonna be great.
Method Man, also a Staten Island hero, folk hero, one could say. Did you have any WuTang like crossovers as a kid? Like you would see them at the mall or anything like that?
No, I didn't, but I know Q did, and I think Sal did too. But I personally didn't. That being said, when we did a show last year, or maybe 2 years ago, 2020, during the height of COVID, when everything was on lockdown, we did a show called Dinner Party, and WuTang, their music opens up every episode of Dinner Party. So we finally got to put them in the show in some way.
Staten Island to me is one of the most pointlessly like disrespected, omitted things when they do the list of like celebrities that came from there. Besides you guys, besides WuTang, Blackie Lawless from Wasp, besides all of the people I've mentioned, there's so many people, yet no one really connects the dots to go Staten Island Pride. Or am I wrong? Is there a secret society Staten Island thing?
If there was, I would not be able to tell you, as you're not from the island. But, if you move there, we'll have a further conversation.
Fair enough.
But there's a 10-year clause. You can't just move there for like a month, get like an Airbnb and think you're a Staten Islander. You need to be indoctrinated. You need to, be accepted into the island.
I get it. Well, another dumb question I have is, was Myrrh a childhood nickname, or was that like an adult thing that happened and it stuck with it through Impractical Jokers and further from that?
It came from high school. I mean, from day one of high school, the guys and all my friends called me Murr. It stuck, and we called QQ from day one.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when certain people, like, if you want to prove that you know Robert De Niro, you go like, oh yeah, I know Bobby, I know Bob. Yeah. And that's the upper echelon. Is there an elevated Q nickname, or a Myrrh nickname rather, or is that a you'd have to kill me, you'd have to know?
I mean, I introduced myself as James. You know what I mean? Like I'm not some jerk that just goes by his last name. But no, James or Murr, whatever you like, it's all good.
And bringing it back to Area 51 interns, I think it's really cool that you're visiting a number of schools. I'm not saying which schools, what times, what days, or anything like that, that you're thinking about going beyond the traditional people that watch Impractical Jokers to reach people with this book. Did you know outright that this was a children's book, or did it evolve into a children's book?
It was always developed as a middle grade kids book series, always from the beginning. That was our intention. We thought so much of the fan base are children and their parents watch the show that and so many of our books have been adult kind of horror or thrillers or mysteries that I was like, let me do something that, is different and is funny. And so that's where it came from. And we are doing a virtual book launch. If you can't come to the schools that I'm going to in person next week, we're doing a virtual book launch on Saturday, March 19th, where we give away tons of prizes. You get an autographed copy of the book sent to you from me. You get a collectible poster as well from us about Area 51. And there's tons of giveaways and prizes. Special guests join throughout the hour and a half. It's a virtual book launch on Zoom. And that's, just go to area51novel.com. So it's area, the number 51, novel.com, and you get a ticket for the virtual book launch. The ticket is just the price of one book and comes with all that stuff for free. And then what else is going on? And then I'm going to be, where are you based out of, by the way?
Long Island, New York, not too far from some of those schools.
I'm playing, I'm in Long Island all next week, going to schools, doing appearances, but those are for the schools, you know. And then I'm playing the Paramount Theater in Huntington.
In Huntington.
I'm playing it on Friday, June 8th in Huntington. And if you like, you can go to murrlive.com to get tickets. It's gonna be great fun. And might have some surprise guests there too.
Oh, okay. I will keep an eye out for that in Huntington. Here in Long Beach, we have this great monthly comedy night where really famous people play a bar that holds no more than 150 people. And we have Dave Attell this weekend. So
I love that. In Huntington at the Paramount, there's that basement speakeasy they have, and Billy Joel pops in all the time. There's maybe 50 people in there, 40 people just to play piano, just to surprise people. I love that. That's wild.
He had to get out of the house because he had an argument with the wife. And there you go. Well, my last question, which comes out of nowhere, is or was Murr ever a fan of Van Halen?
Van Halen?
Yeah.
Sure. I was. I like Van Halen. I know all the music, liked them in the 80s and 90s, but they weren't my number one favorites. My favorites, even though I like Van Halen, I was more of like an Air Supply fan, you know.
You're a yacht rock guy?
Softer kind of rock, you know. Pop, softer pop. But I did like Whitesnake, Poison. My first concert was Poison. Chicago, softer. I was a softer guy than Van Halen, you know.
So yacht rock.
Yacht rock I love.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for yacht rock, you know. So yeah, some of that falls in the yacht rock category, you know.
So to recap everything I've learned from speaking with you, the book is out March 15th. It's not just going to be a book. Expect a series, probably TV, etc. It's a property, as they call it in the biz. You will be at the Paramount in June. The stand-up and the touring continues. This is not the only book series in the works, because there's more to come, but not a memoir. Not a memoir. Never happened.
No. And of course, brand new episodes of Impractical Jokers begins on Saturday, April 2nd. The second the NCAA Final Four game ends, we get simulcast on True TV, TBS, and TNT all at once with a supersized episode featuring Eric Andre. It's going to be great.
Wow, another great. Well, and then the last thing I learned, there's a lot of LJN figures in your possession, and that will eventually be sold for a lot of money.
Yes, I'm sure it will, if you can pry it out of my hands.
There you go. Well, thank you for the many years of great entertainment. Thank you for your time, and maybe see you at one of those schools on Long Island.
Sounds good. Take care. Thanks for the time.
Thanks, Murr.
You got it.
Paltrocast.